Good evening, baseball. Bon vivants. Got to use that 8 years of French I took in high school. And
What?
welcome to another episode of the Baseball Bums. I am Benny Scala, aka The Playa. And you may know me from that hit adult film, Wait Till She Gets a Load of Me.
Jesus.
You might have seen that one, Jimmy.
Oh,
So I guess if we are bums, then I'm joined by my fellow sluggard, which is only fitting since we're going to talk about sluggers, the iconic Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, how are you, my friend?
baseball, apple pie, and Benny constantly referring to hot dogs. Yup, America's
There you
pastime.
go.
Let's do it.
Americana, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tonight
Jeez.
will be the third installment of a four-part series on who we think should not be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. So far we covered the pitchers and the catchers, the and the infielders. And tonight we're going to talk about outfielders. And with each of the previous two episodes, I think we had a bit of controversy. And I'm pretty sure tonight's going to be three times the charm. And
Yeah.
remember Vincent LaGuardia Gambini, for him, I think six times the charm. So as always, Dem Bums came up with quite the list, I think, Jimmy. And I see you're chomping on the proverbial bit. So what do you say we get the show on the road ski?
Hit it.
Well, before we start our list, I did want to bounce something off of you here. And we talked about this offline. Paul Skeens, the sensational rookie pitcher of the Pittsburgh Pirates, had a no-hitter during the week. Going into he pitched 7 innings through 99 pitches. I think he walked one guy, so it was one walk away from a perfecto. And 99 pitches, the manager yanks him. Manager says it wasn't the pitch count. He just looked tired. So what do you think?
Garbage. Nonsense. He's a young man. It reminds me, I looked at his height and weight. I'm like, oh my God, what is this, Roger Clemens Jr.? I mean, this is a big boy.
Guy is a bull.
He's a monster. And no, it can't be the pitch count. He couldn't use that excuse. 99, but what, another 20 pitches would have killed the kid? Because I'm sure he would have done it in around 120, 124, whatever. Okay, maybe it's a little much for today, but stop it. Just stop it. The guy's young. I would have let him finish it. This is something he could talk about the rest of his career. And no, it's not compromising or overworking him. So let's just cut that crap out. Oh, he looked tired. I would have told the manager, maybe you're tired. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep to pull me here. Maybe you're not awake. Go back to the dugout. I got to finish this game.
What does Nolan Ryan say if the manager comes out and he's working on a no-no?
It doesn't happen in Nolan Ryan's day.
Or Bob Gibson or, any of these guys.
It doesn't happen. The closest thing I can remember that reminded me of this particular situation was much different circumstances, though. I will give Joe Torre that. But I remember when David Cone had his aneurysm, he came back and he was throwing a no-hitter, maybe a perfect game, but at least a no-hitter. I remember that very clearly. And he pulled him. And I thought to myself, what are you doing? Let him finish. Oddly enough, Cone went on later, a few years later to throw a perfect game anyway. But, Torre was concerned about his medical situation coming off the aneurysm. So what am I going to say about that? But that's the only time I remember thinking to myself, what are you doing? This is really no excuse. You got a young stud out there, 99 pitches. Let him finish. That's just ridiculous.
Jimmy, we're both baseball card aficionados, and I have a lot of stats that I have memorized. Like 1961, Whitey Ford was 25-4.
Right.
Guidry was 25-3 in 78 with a 1.74 ERA, I think.
Yep.
Norm Cash hit 361 in 1961 with 141 ribbies.
Wow.
I remember that stuff. I mean, one thing I don't remember? I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything about a pitch count.
Right. No. Although I will say this, I do remember David Cone's pitch count for his perfect game was in the 70s. You realize that?
Wow.
Do you realize that?
That is really?
I think he had like 73 pitches in the entire game. It was absolutely insane, that performance. Now, I could be wrong, but I remember thinking to myself, that's a low pitch count. Really low.
Maddox threw a couple of complete games that, like, in the 70s, as far as the pitch count, like that probably took about 25 minutes. If you went to the bathroom, you missed the game. But I just think, I don't know. We're talking about a 22-year-old kid who's in phenomenal shape.
Yep.
Like you said, is 25 more pitches really going to kill the guy?
No, not at all. No, it's ridiculous. I mean, I was at Gooden's no-hitter, and Gooden threw a ton that night. So I guess to Torrey's credit, it really was concern for Cohn's medical situation because Gooden threw 124 pitches or something. He threw a lot of pitches that night. He did. He walked four batters over the course of the game, but he did manage to no hit a Mariners lineup that had Griffey Jr. and Edgar Martinez and Buhner, and man, oh man, was that a
That was
moment
a
to be
potent
had.
lineup for
Yeah,
sure.
it really was. But Joe let him get through it. Maybe Joe was just sizing up the situation. Gooden was trying to reprove himself when he got here, and I
And
think Joe
yeah,
wanted him to. Well, Joe was like, you know what, go for it, go
yeah.
for it.
And Gooden
Very
was not
cool.
a finesse pitcher either. Gooden was a hard
No,
thrower.
yeah, he was a hard thrower. He got a
Same
little
as
smart. He
Skeens.
got a little smarter as he got older, though. He he
Right.
he
Yeah, of
hung around
course.
because he was able to adjust somewhat. I was very impressed with what he did with the Yankees. He's an unsung hero from those days.
Yeah.
He was great in '96. He helped us reestablish ourselves. He did get hurt. I remember in '97 he pitched in the playoffs great against Cleveland. He really did step up for us. He was a beautiful addition to a great team.
He
He really
had one of
was.
the better seasons. Was it 85, I think, that he was
20
24 and 4?
Yeah, yeah, that's one of the best seasons ever, especially in our
ERA under
lifetime.
2. I mean,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Gooden was amazing.
And these guys were throwing between, I mean, good and probably like maybe 250, 275. Guys like Fergie Jenkins and, they like Cuellar and Palmer and those guys probably throwing close to 300 a year.
Right. Yep. Those guys
Somehow they
were.
survived.
Yeah. I mean, I saw some stuff. I think Nolan Ryan threw well over 300 innings more than once. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh my God, throwing as hard as he did. Go
Right.
figure.
I
Yeah,
think
go figure.
I think he threw a complete game, and I think his pitch count was in the 200s. He pitched
Oh,
like
that's
13 to
insane.
14 innings. Yeah, and then he was out 4 days later.
Right. Right. Well, nobody told them that they were supposed to rest or say that their shoulder hurt, I guess. I don't know.
You know what? I don't ever remember Phil Rizzuto, Frank Messer, Jerry Coleman, any of those guys using the word pitch count. I don't remember it.
Well, you know what? Not to use wrestling comparatives, but I mean, geez, they might have lost their spot on the card if they started pulling that crap. Get out there and perform.
Yeah, somebody else will go the distance, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Well, let's get to the meat here. Outfielders. So I'm going to start with the modern day guys. First couple, I think, are no-brainers. Mike Trout got 11-time All-Star, 9 Silver Slugger, 3 MVP, Rookie of the Year, 378 homers, 954 ribbies, 9 consecutive top 5 MVP, a career 299 batting average.
Yeah, he's waltzing in. It's weird, though. Those are great numbers. They are. But often I've heard Mike Trout called the best ball player of his generation. And I look at those numbers and I think about guys like Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays, or we lived through Griffey Jr.'s entire career. And I'm like, he's not quite the prototypical best player of generation stats. And even though those stats are great, don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? It just shows that the game has changed, if anything. He's a beautiful all around ball player. If he had been a Yankee, oh my God, right? I mean, he's great. So he will get in the Hall of Fame. He's also a media darling. I would not be surprised if he's in right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, the guy's beloved. So,
yeah, he's first ballot all the way.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to get to the 500 homers because he has been hurt. He's only got 10 this year. I think he's only played in about 28, 29 games.
Yeah, I'm concerned about what the overall numbers are going to look like, but you know what? He's done enough. He's going to get in. He's going to eclipse 400 home runs. Obviously, he's starting to spin out lately, but he's done enough. He's in.
Yeah, I mean, 3 MVPs got to get you in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's definitely in.
Yeah. How about Bryce Harper? We got an 8-time All-Star, 3 Silver Slugger, 2 MVP, Rookie of the Year, 326 dingers, 947 and RBIs, career 282 batting average.
He's going to accumulate some more, but I believe he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, look, Bryce Harper is exactly the kind of player I want. All right, I've wanted Bryce Harper for years. I was so pissed off when Cashman didn't go after him aggressively. Imagine his swing in Yankee Stadium.
Oh yeah,
and there's a pulse there. Nobody's going to be falling asleep in the dugout with that nut job around. He's everything I like in a ball player. He's basically the way I play baseball. I mean, I'm a bit of a loose cannon myself. You know, one of my favorite things was when he ran out and threw the helmet at the pitcher. The helmet went in a completely different direction, but he's, he cracks me up, Bryce Harper. He's
give yeah,
very entertaining.
I give props to anybody who plays with passion.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's ironic too that that fight with Papelbon years back was because he wanted Bryce to run something out, and Bryce was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" You know, and people were like, "Oh, Bryce is lazy." I don't know about that. He was probably, if I know Bryce's mental makeup, he's probably just more pissed off that he popped up. You
Right.
know, I mean, stop it. You know, and then
Yes.
Papelbon. At least they all gave a shit, though, right? I mean, I don't mind seeing something like that in a dugout if there's a pulse. You know, I mean, it shows that there's a pulse between Papelbon and Harper, and you know what I mean. It's just one of those things, like Reggie and Billy fighting in the
I
dugout.
like Bill Clinton said, "You just read my mind." I was just thinking about that. I was thinking about Billy and Reggie. I mean, holy shit.
Yep. Yep. You know, it's always good to have a Bryce Harper on your team. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, spark plug. And
Yep.
next is Shohei Ohtani,
Oh, my
four-time
favorite.
All-Star, 2 Silver Slugger, 2 MVPs, which will be 3 after this year. Might even win the Triple Crown.
Right.
Rookie of the Year, 38-19 as a pitcher, even though he's not pitching this year. 3.01 ERA, 1.082 WHIP, and 11.4 Ks in 9 innings. I mean, what happens next year when this guy can pitch?
Right. He's
Scary.
he's well on his way. Obviously, I mean, there's more that has to be done, obviously, but he's well on his way. I don't know what his numbers are going to look like at the end of the day. How many home runs you think Otani's going to have by the time his career is over?
Um, not 500. I'd say probably closer to 4.
Right. Yeah, I would think between that and his pitching and everything, if he accumulates enough, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't go in. Another guy that's completely loved by the media too. You know, interesting. You know, I'm
I,
not
I
I'm not the biggest fan of Otani, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what
well,
I
I
think
just get
personally.
upset when people say he's the goat, and
No, he's not. He's
right?
not even close to Babe Ruth. It's it's
No,
it's it's stupid to even sit and compare the two. But that's the kind of age we live in nowadays, where
right,
the modern ball player is so superior to the old time. Do you realize, that argument? By the way, if I can get this in fast, Benny, this really does hammer home how ridiculous it is when they say that the old time ball players aren't comparable to today's superior athletes. At this point, yeah, you could put an asterisk next to it or whatever. Bonds is the all-time home run leader with what, 763 maybe or something like that?
right.
Total home runs. Okay. Babe Ruth, who retired 89 years ago, has 714. So you mean to tell me what is the difference between 714 and 763? You're the accountant. How many home
49,
runs?
49.
What are we talking about here? That we've it gets back to my point that we've progressed so much as a race that we're so superior to the grown men who played each other 100 years ago. You're talking about 49 career home run differential between Barry Bonds, who obviously was taking all sorts of stuff to help him. I still think he would have hit a shitload of home runs one way or the other, and Babe Ruth, who was chewing on hot dogs. 49 home runs.
And
Really?
you're talking about a guy who how many seasons did he pitch?
Right. I
Right, and
mean,
he didn't get the at bats.
it's just stop. I mean, we have not progressed in on the evolutionary scale so much as a race that the guys who played 100 years ago are so inferior. It's just crap. Walter Johnson threw smoke. Stop it. Stop it. Walter
And it's
Johnson would have mowed down half the guys with no problem in today's day and age, if not more.
should have look what Satchel Paige did when he got on the
Right.
mound at age 59
Right.
and pitched 3 innings against the Red Sox, gave up 1 hit.
Right. Yeah.
At
Nah.
59 years old, maybe
You know?
he was 59. He could have been older than that.
Look, Otani's great. He's definitely a great for his time period. But I mean, to say that he's on par with Babe Ruth is just dumb.
No, I
It's
ain't
just
buying it.
dumb.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, but I do think he's on his way.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I mean, if he wins, he's going to win his 3rd MVP this year, unless something happens.
great
And
player.
I mean, what would happen next year if he wins a Cy Young and you throw that in there? Like, holy crap!
Right. I mean, like I said, he's working on it. He's well on his way. I won't put him in right
Generational
now.
ball player, yes. Great ball player, yes. Greatest of all time, hell no. Hell no.
No way. I agree.
All right. We got Mookie Betts, 8 times All-Star, 6 Silver Sluggers, MVP, 6 Gold Gloves, a batting title, career 295 batting average, 7 top 8 MVP finishes.
Another guy. How many career home runs have you got down for Mookie?
Mookie, let's see, Mookie. Got my Mookie's not really a home run guy, although he does have power.
Right.
But let's see.
Well, I think he's on his way. He's almost a lock. He's probably got a few more seasons to
yeah, and Mookie is 31.
Right.
Having a good season this year. So he's got 262. I imagine he's gonna get close to 400. He'll come up with like 1,200, so 400, 1,200, and batting average in the 290s, probably like 2,300 hits, the MVP, the Gold Gloves. He's probably going to get a World Series or two out of playing with the Dodgers, I think.
Right. I think he's pretty much there. He's almost there, He's another guy.
Think if he has another couple of seasons, I think he's got, he'll have the body of work.
Yeah, a lot of the guys we've discussed so far still have some of their career to finish up here.
Absolutely.
But I would say he's another guy who's well on his way, if not already a lock. He's very close. He's getting there.
I think same for the next guy, Mr. Aaron Judge. 6 All-Stars, 3 Silver Sluggers, an MVP, which I think is a lock for another one, maybe even a triple crown. Rookie of the Year. He's got 291 home runs, although I don't know if he hit one today or not.
Right.
I had to adjust that twice when the last couple of days, because he went, he hit home runs in back-to-back games. 284 batting average, 13 postseason homers.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll be in the Hall of Fame when he's done. I mean, I think he's going to be hitting 500 career home runs. I mean, if he stays healthy, see, that's always been the problem with Aaron. If Aaron stays healthy, he could hit 600. You know, Aaron is definitely one of the all-time great sluggers. I mean, outside of A-Rod, I've never seen anybody hit like this on the Yankees. Not like this.
And it's really funny. After the first 20, 30 games of the season, everybody was booing the guy because he was hitting under 200.
I can't do that. I don't even understand that. When they were booing him, I can't do that. He's done enough where I would give him way more than what they were giving him to start.
Our mutual favorite ball players was a notoriously slow starter, Mr. Greg Nettles.
Yes.
Every season start off same way. But then, when it counted, he hit the shit out of the ball.
Oh, you didn't want to pitch to Nettles in August and September. That was a problem,
Yep. And he never let his hitting affect his glove.
Yep. Judge is another one who's a media darling. So Judge will, get in one way or the other. Judge is well on his way to getting in. He's great. We're very lucky to have him.
Absolutely. And now his teammate, or at least his teammate for now, is next. Juan Soto, 4 All-Stars, 4 Silver Sluggers. He's got a World Series, a batting title. Career, this is pretty impressive, 422 on base percentage.
Wow.
Career 285 batting average.
Well,
so
on
far,
his way.
so good, right?
Well, oh my God, so far so great. Soto is so far the guys you've named. Soto's the closest thing to Trout, and give me an all around everything kind of guy that we've been talking about here. In my mind, Soto is fantastic. He's got a ways to go, but boy, oh boy, he's on a first ballot trajectory. That guy. Could you imagine what our season would be like without him? Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's a winner, man. He's fantastic. He should waltz right in by the time his career is over with.
Do we keep him? You think? Do we sign him?
You better.
What kind of money we got to give him though?
I don't care. That's not for me to worry about.
I know.
That's for the Yankees to worry about. If the Yankees get cheap with him, what do they think they're really going to accomplish? I would like to see them get better pitching, but I've always wanted to see them get better pitching.
Right.
I mean, even though the pitching's not so bad this year, it's starting to falter again. And, what else is new?
I see him getting like a 10-year, $500 million or something like that.
He's going to get something insane, but they better make it work, and they better figure out how to make the rest of the team work around it. That's what they're getting. That's why, the great Brian Cashman, he's paid to do that stuff,
But what a nice thought having him and Judge back-to-back for the next 5 or 7 years.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
Yep, then throw a couple of pitchers in there, and maybe we'll get that ring again.
Yeah, that would be good. That's what we need.
Now this is one that's really kind of in question. I think Ronald Acuna Jr. Acuna Matata, 4 All-Star, 3 Silver Slugger, MVP, Rookie of the Year. Last year, 2022 rather, 41 homers, 73 stolen bases.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. Career 289 batting average. He's out the rest of this season. I think he's got a pretty severe leg injury. So I think another one, maybe, the good so far, right? Great so far.
Yeah.
Jury's out. We'll see what happens, right?
Until the injury, he might have been the sexiest name outside of Ohtani in the game. I mean, he's always talked about, especially where I'm living here in the Panhandle. There's a lot of Braves fans around here, and
right.
Acuna Jr. is like a god around here. Well on his way. I don't know about the injury now. I don't know what that'll do for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll just, maybe it's something he'll get over and just keep going. Because
hopefully
now,
comes back next year. But
yeah.
Now the next one is the one. I mean, there's always one particular name I can't wait to give to you to get your take on it. And this is the one, Giancarlo Stanton.
No.
All right, 5 All-Star, 2 Silver Slugger, MVP, 420 homers, 1,076 ribbies. And I was kind of surprised. Career 259 batting average with 11 postseason homers.
I can't do it. He's going to have to. You know what annoys me? He probably will accumulate it, though. He'll get over 500 home runs and he'll get in. But he'll get in as a, not as a Yankee in my mind. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. This is a really good ball player when he's healthy, but he's not a well-rounded ball player. He can't run. Honestly, if I want a home run, which is basically what he's there for, if I want a home run, I'd rather send up Dave Kingman in his prime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I'm not a big Stanton guy at all. If he gets to 500 home runs, he's probably going to get in one way or the other. But I'm not overly impressed with him only because of his bad health. I can live with the fact that he's not the biggest hustler or whatever, because I do like his bat when he's healthy. They have not done well since he got hurt, and he wasn't doing too bad this year, right?
No. He was having a decent season, not average-wise, but he was, had some homers.
He's got Hall of Fame stuff, he's a Hall of Fame type ball player, but I mean, just hurt way too much. Again, to me, 500 is going to be the magic number for him. If he doesn't get to that 500 mark, I'm not so sure he gets in.
Well, what does he have? Does he have 3 years left on his contract?
I'm not sure.
I think he's got 3.
3 too many at this point.
So, say he hits another 10. He's got 430. He's got 70 left with 3 seasons. He's got to average 23 a year. Doable if he's healthy.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he could still do it. You know what would clinch it for me, like you just said? If he turns it around in the last 3 years of his contract, he's healthy, and he gives us 35, 100, 2 of the 3 years, he's probably in.
Oh, yeah, if he mashes a couple of years there, then definitely.
Yeah, he's just a few more seasons away from changing my opinion. Right now, he falls short right this very moment.
And all he's got to do is swing the damn bat 4 times a game.
Right.
That's all he's got to do.
But then he's got to run, Benny.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He's very one-dimensional nowadays, and it's kind of too bad.
Yeah, I mean, the swing is still awesome. The exit velocity is like incredible, but that's where it ends.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Next, Yordan Alvarez of the Astros, 3 All-Star, Silver Slugger, Rookie of the Year, World Series. Career 295 batting average. Last 3 seasons, averaged 34 homers, 100 ribbies. Already has 12 postseason home runs, but he's a young kid.
It's way too soon.
Yeah,
what has he played? Six seasons?
I don't maybe think not even
5.
I think this is his 4th full season.
It's way too soon. Is he starting off like he's on pace? Absolutely. But he's got another good 10 years to go.
You never know with these guys.
The jury's out.
Career-ending injury. God knows, maybe he retires early. Who knows?
Anything could happen. But he's on pace. He's on pace.
Got some good ones in there for sure, though.
Yeah. Benny, did you want to quickly go over a couple of guys we might have not mentioned in the past before we hit the rest of the list? Or
Yeah.
from the
Well,
previous shows.
we're gonna get to the. Go ahead. Mention the name. Let's see if I have it on the
Well,
list.
I don't know where you have it on the script because I can't look at the script today. But anyway,
Shoot.
Jason Giambi was on.
I got Giambi on here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I do have Giambi. Yeah, Giambi, 5 All Stars, 2 Silver Sluggers, an MVP, 440 homers, 1441 ribbies, career 277, and postseason 290 batting average.
Very impressive. Very impressive statistics. I'm not doing it though. The problem is like if Jason had maintained that 300 plus batting average when he got to the Yankees, he's probably in. But he became like a 250 hitter for the Yankees. Although, as you remember, Jason Giambi's on base percentage was always leading the team or up at the top because he had a lot of walks. He had a great eye. So I find it very interesting that Giambi went from a 300 plus hitter in Oakland and did not lose that eye, but still the batting average went way down. Do you think it was the short porch? You know what I mean? But he still managed to get on base all the time. He didn't lose his eye, is what I'm saying, but somehow the batting average went down. The on base percentage stayed up. Very unusual. If Giambi pulls a 300 career batting average with everything else you just read, 440 home runs, over 1,400 career RBIs, yeah, Jason's in. But Jason's average got too low with the Yankees. That was the problem. You could pencil him in for 250, you know?
He's as close as you can get without actually getting in.
Right. Good ball player, though.
Yeah, you know, very good.
Gets too much hate for the 7 years he was here. 5 of those 7 years were very good.
Yes.
Very good years. So he was a good ball player.
Who else you got, Jimmy, that you before you?
Well, there wasn't there. I did want to throw out the name, like just for interesting purposes, and we haven't talked about him. I just mentioned him. Dave Kingman. Dave Kingman had 442 career home runs. That's a lot of home runs, you know. The batting average kills Dave Kingman because he had a 236 batting average. But I'll tell you what, it is very fair to say that Dave Kingman was one of the great home run hitters of his era. That's not an overstatement. Dave Kingman was a beast, an absolute beast. And Yankee fans recall this. In 77, at the end of the season, right as September is approaching here, George Steinbrenner pulls it off and gets Dave Kingman to come to the 77 Yankees. And I went wild because I knew what Dave Kingman was to the Met fans. I was like, oh, my God, we got Dave Kingman? And the poor fella only played 2 weeks with us, and we were in a pennant race, okay? We won that division by two games or whatever. It's not like we ran away with it. We needed him. And he came in, and he hit 4 home runs and 8 RBIs in like a week and a half. It was amazing. I remember he hit a moonshot at Tiger Stadium. I'm like, oh, my God. Kingman stepped right in the middle of all that calamity and just hit home runs. Came in what he was asked to do. And I think years later, you know, he got his ring. I mean, it took a long time, but from what I understand, they were like, you know what? Because he couldn't play in the playoffs. He wasn't eligible.
Right.
You know, which I thought sucked. I was like, oh, man, wouldn't you have loved to see Dave Kingman in there with those guys? I mean, it was great. See, he was in a line. You realize Dave Kingman was in a lineup with Reggie Jackson, Thurman Munson, Craig Nettles, and Chris Chambliss. Wow. That was
awesome.
Great. Only lasted a few weeks. But, of course, Kingman doesn't get in. But I just wanted to, you know, give a little props to Dave Kingman. He was one of the great sluggers of his generation, despite the low batting average.
I think, and you can correct me, Jimmy, I think that was the year that he played for the Mets, the Yankees, the Oakland A's, and the Padres. He played for 2 California teams, 2 New York teams. So, I mean, there was no shortage of teams wanting this guy on their team.
Right. And then, of course, he had a pretty good run with the Cubs after that, as you remember.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 1 year he hit like 48 homers, and I think he actually hit like in the 280s.
Yeah,
he got a bunch of. He got some serious MVP consideration.
Yeah, I think he hit 288 that year, 47 homers and 118 RBIs.
So he
something
could
like that.
do it. I mean, he was capable, but
he was pretty good, man. I thought he was pretty clutch too. That was a big deal. I never forgot what he did in those couple of short weeks he had the chance here, and he wanted to stay too. I remember reading about that Kingman wanted to stay. But somehow, I guess the offer came in. He got more money someplace else, so he went. It is what it is.
I tell you what, some of his shots, I think, are still in orbit.
Yep. That guy could really smoke him out of the
Yeah, I mean,
ballpark.
he had
he
that
was
uppercut
something.
swing, and it was it was either home run or strikeout pretty much. But
Right,
man, when he
right.
connected, there was no
Yeah.
doubt that ball was gone.
No, he was the crusher. He's like that dude in the Bugs Bunny
Oh yeah,
cartoon with the tree,
oh
standing at the plate with the tree.
yeah. Bugs
Yeah.
Bunny substituted for Ravishing Ronald, I think.
Yep. And in case there's a brawl, it doesn't hurt to have Dave Kingman running out on your team's side. He's a pretty big guy.
Pretty big, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about the recent past.
Okay.
And I'm going to start off with a no-brainer. Ichiro.
Oh, please. You don't even have to read the accolades. That's
I didn't even write down his stats.
Yeah, 3,000 hits and everything he did. I think his first 10 seasons, didn't he have like 200 hits every
I
year?
think his first 11 seasons.
11.
I think it was with 200 plus hits for the Mariners.
Just ridiculous. I mean, we got old Ichiro when he showed up here and he had the nerve to hit like 285, 290.
Right.
Ichiro that's one of the all-time great.
He could probably
players.
still hit 270, but he's got 4,367 total hits. If you count Japan,
right? Which we should, since we're starting to count everything else that happened in baseball over the years. I agree.
So he'd be the all-time hit king.
Ichiro outside of Pete Rose is the closest thing you'll see to Ty Cobb, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? As far as the kind of ball player, get on base and just cause complete, chaos.
But his hit totals, like he didn't just hit 200, like he was in like the 240s, the 250s.
Right.
I mean, every day.
Yep.
That swing, not a lot of power, but contact.
Didn't matter. Yeah, no, it didn't matter. He was one of them. It's just, like a Boggs or a Tony Gwynn or Rod Carew or whatever. This was a amazing bat control and one of the best hitters. If you want to get on base, he's one of the best we'll ever see.
And, plus a great base stealer.
Yep.
And phenomenal right fielder with a
oh, my God. Everything about him. Everything about him. The great Ichiro Suzuki. Yep.
Great ball player.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Now, this one's kind of controversial. Ryan Braun, the Milwaukee Brewers. Six All-Stars, 5 Silver Slugger, got the MVP, Rookie of the Year, 352, 1154, career 296 batting average. His first 5 seasons he had 100 ribbies or more. Never after that. And I think he only played 11 years.
Wow. 11 years.
Yeah.
352 career home runs. He's averaging over 30 a year.
Right.
How many RBIs?
1154. Let me check that stat.
Are you sure? Because if he did this all in only 11 years.
No, let me go check.
That is very key.
It might have been like 11. Give me 1 second here.
That is very, very key there.
He's got 14. I stand corrected.
Okay.
14 seasons.
That's way different. That's way different. Unfortunately for him, it's way different.
He went from very good. So he was all right. Let me read these off.
He's very top heavy career wise. He's very top heavy. In the beginning, he starts off like a first ballot Hall of Famer.
He's 34, 97, 324 average, 37, 106, 285, 32, 114, 320, 25, 103, 304, 33, 111, 332, and that was his MVP. And then the next year was 41, 112, and 319. He came in second in the MVP that year. And after that, he was very ordinary.
Right. It's a very top-heavy career. It's not distributed evenly.
No. Never hit more than 25 or hit 30 once.
Any Gold Gloves in there?
Braun does not have any Gold Gloves.
Yeah, I'm going to pass. I mean, if he had managed to eclipse 300, there are some things I still get stickly about. And in his case, I'm going to say no. He's close, but no.
Yeah, I mean, if he had only had 1963, I think you got to get at least 2,000 hits. I think that's kind of a must, isn't it? Or close?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so. He's close, but no cigar.
Yeah. All right.
Interesting one. That was interesting.
Yeah. He's tough. Next guy, same thing. Nelson Cruz, 7 All-Star, 4 Silver Slugger, 464 home runs, 5 top 10 MVPs, career 274 batting average, 18 postseason homers. Man, that's a tough guy to overlook.
How many career home runs?
Cruz has 464.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. How many All-Star appearances, please?
7.
Oh,
18,
boy.
18 postseason homers.
Oh, boy. You know, you include that postseason, I'm going to go with yeah.
Let me drill into him a little bit more.
I'm very surprised at these numbers.
Yeah.
Damn.
Played 19 seasons.
Right. How many hits in his career?
Cruz had 2,053.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's 464, 1325, 274.
Nah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. He needs more
Too short
hits.
on the hits?
Yeah, I think he's too short on the hits. He sounds like it on the surface, but I'm going to go with no. Boy, that's rough. I didn't realize, though. Very impressive numbers.
Yeah, he was kind of, if you look at he had like in 2014 with the Orioles, he was 40, 108, 271. Nice season. 2017 with the Mariners, 39, 119, 288. 2019, 41, 108, 311. Nice.
Right.
But he's got lesser seasons. Like one year was 2490 and 260.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
90 RBIs is 90 RBIs. I mean, yeah, he's close, but I'm going to go with no.
Yeah,
it's very close.
Now, if he did get voted in by the Veterans Committee, I would not be shocked.
No, I wouldn't be like going, "Oh my God, that's a travesty." But
I'm not crying that the guy's not in.
Right. Agreed. Agreed. Interesting one though. Very interesting.
Here we go again. Another guy, Carlos Beltran, 9 All-Star, 2 Silver Slugger, 3 Gold Glove, World Series Rookie of the Year, 435 homers, 1587 ribbies, 2,725 hits, 312 stolen bases, career 279 batting average, 16 postseason homers, and a postseason average of 307.
In.
Yeah, how do you keep that guy out?
Carlos Beltran's a Hall of Famer. In.
Yeah,
and one of the great postseason ball players too. You don't.
that is every box checked.
He was always one of those guys where I wondered why we didn't have him. I was like, well, how do we not have this guy? How do we, over the years, like especially when he was really in his prime, I'm like, how is he not a Yankee? I never understood it.
Right.
But I felt that way about another guy. I don't think he's on the list. But I think he deserves consideration is Johnny Damon.
Yeah.
Damon had
a talk about it. Yeah, Damon is
Johnny Damon was a great baseball player. I was a baseball player. Johnny Damon was a great baseball player. He almost got 3,000 hits. He wasn't that far away.
Damon was. Well, here we go. Let's look it up.
Johnny Damon, when he came up with KC, I believe it was KC. I was just like, why do we not have this guy? And then he goes to Boston and turns into Jesus Christ with a baseball bat. Well, I'm talking about his look, with the beard and everything. But my God, Johnny Damon, then he comes to the Yankees, squeaky clean, shaves off that vintage beard he had and helps us. Absolutely was key. One of the 4 key guys that carried us to that World Series championship in 2009 as far as at the plate. Jeter, A-Rod, Matsui, and Johnny Damon were the best hitters during that entire run in 2009. Didn't Johnny steal 2 bases on 1 play in the World Series?
I think so.
But, Johnny Damon was a great ball player.
Very overlooked, I think. Like, for example, in 2000 with the Royals, 214 hits.
Right.
16 homers, 88 ribbies, 46 stolen bases.
Right.
327 batting average.
Baseball player.
It doesn't make the All-Star team, though.
Whatever. Baseball. How many hits did he have for his career? If you have that,
2769.
27. What was the batting average lifetime?
284.
284. Wow. Man, I wish he could have gotten to 3,000 hits. It would have been like you can't even argue.
He's in. Postseason 276 with 10 homers. Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad, man. Another guy that we talked about during the week, Tim Salmon, one of the all-time California Anaheim Angels guys. I think he had 299 career home runs, crap load of RBIs, good lifetime batting average. I don't even think he ever saw an All-Star game. The guy was
Yeah.
like great for over a decade. He's one of the all-time Angel players.
Damon only has let's see, two All-Stars, but he's got the 2 rings.
Right. Yeah, Johnny Damon, underappreciated.
Yeah,
Real
one of my
damn
favorite
good.
ball players too.
Yeah, real damn good. All right.
All right, who do you got next? We're right. So now we're to the not so recent past, and another
Right.
guy that I didn't even bother putting his stats in there is Barry Bonds.
Oh, stop it. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. You know how I feel about all that
Yeah,
hypocrisy. That's garbage.
I mean the
Barry
guy is,
Bonds, the year that he hit 73 home runs, I think he only had like 150 something hits for the year. Do you realize that every other time he gets a hit, it's landing in the water in Candlestick? I mean, at the new park, obviously into the water. But the newer park, I bet you that park's been around for decades at this point. Man, we're getting
right.
old, Benny. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
You
tell me
know?
about it.
Yeah, but I mean, every other hit that year for him was launched into the freaking water. I mean,
McCovey Code, right? You had people with rowboats waiting
yeah,
for him.
yeah. Now that's the most feared hitter I've ever seen. I mean, for God's sakes, the guy. And I remember all the body armor he wore. He would literally stand on the plate and dare you to hit him. You were like forced to pitch to him or hit him. It was going to be one or the other. And if you pitched to him, he already had the plate. He owned he stood right on the plate. I've never seen anything like him.
So his last MVP season,
Yeah.
at the age of 39, right?
Right.
45 homers, 101 ribbies, batting average of 362, wins the batting title.
Jesus.
Walked 232 times.
Jesus. I wonder how many he was hit by pitch.
And his on-base percentage was 609.
That's ridiculous.
His OPS plus, which compared to is 263.
Right.
Which besides his 73 homer season, probably the highest ever. I mean, just ridiculous numbers.
Bonds to me is like McGuire, and unlike Sosa. What I will say about the whole Royd thing is that you could, and Clemens too, you could see that Clemens and McGuire, look, a skinny McGuire hit 49 home runs, all right? We know that McGuire was going to be a great home run hitter one way or the other. A young Barry Bonds was going to wind up being one of the all-time great all-around ball players. He was well on his way to doing that anyway. Sammy might be the one where you could be like, Royd's made Sammy what it was. That's possible. I could see that. That Sammy became, a great home run hitter through that, perhaps, obviously. But those other guys, no. Bonds was going to be a Hall of Famer one way or the other. He was well on his way. Clemens was great way before, all the juicing started with everybody, including himself.
And Jimmy, not for anything. I mean, I weighed 162 pounds soaking wet when I graduated high school.
Right.
I started working out lifting weights when I was 33, so a little bit later in the game. But I mean, I completely transformed myself. I was like 205 solid. And a lot of these guys like Bonds, McGuire, even Sosa were skinny guys. But I think, with age, they kind of filled out, even without the steroids.
Right. They were going to fill out one way or the other. They all had much bigger frames than the two guys discussing them. You know what I mean? These were big boys. Barry Bonds was a big kid to begin with. I mean, Roger was a big boy. McGuire was a big boy. He might have been tall and thin, but he was still a big boy, Mark McGuire pulls up to a bar with a biker vest on even before steroids. I'm buying it. You understand what I'm saying?
You need both.
Like, here comes a big boy,
Yeah.
But, no steroids or no steroids. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. That's a joke.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
That's ridiculous.
All right, now we got some controversy here. The next one, Kenny Lofton. 6 All-Star, 4 Gold Gloves, 622 stolen bases, and a career 299 batting average. Let me get his hit total here.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
He's got over 2,700 hits. I'm pretty sure.
Let's see,
or close to
24-28.
Oh, really? 24-28.
Yeah.
Okay.
299 batting average, like right at that 300 mark. 372 on base percentage, which is very, very good.
Right.
I got the Gold Gloves, got the ungodly stolen base totals. I don't know. He's right. He's knocking on the door. I don't know if we let him in or not.
You know what? okay. This annoys me. This 299 batting average, doesn't it? Doesn't that annoy you? That annoys me. I don't know how it doesn't annoy him. Um,
I mean, if
man,
here's me, like I'm at
man.
300, right? I'm at 300 career batting average. I'm 37, 38. I'm obviously on the decline. Do I risk playing that last year to, because
Yeah,
that could be the benchmark for getting into the Hall of Fame, that 300 batting average.
right. I hate to sound like a writer, but my memory is long, and Kenny Lofton was a shitty teammate. I remember that much. I remember him saying a very, very ridiculous things about Joe Torre after his time here. Um, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. He's a very, very good ball player, though. Very, very, very good ball player. But
Another
I'm
guy that if the Veterans
not
Committee
doing it.
voted him in 10 years from now, I mean, I would not die of a heart attack. I mean, I
Yeah,
would be
I'm
shocked.
not. I'm not sold on it. You know.
All right, we got a couple of guys coming up that I think that we both like. Next is Hideki Matsui,
Right.
2 All-Star, World Series MVP, 10 postseason homers, postseason average of 312. Now,
Right.
if you take if you consolidate his stats, 507 homers,
Right.
1,649 ribbies,
Right.
and a career 293 batting average.
Right. Well, if we're going to officially integrate and recognize Negro League stats, then that's what we're going to do here.
Right.
Hideki Matsui is a Hall of Famer. He's got
Fair
over
is
five.
fair.
He's got what's fair is fair. He's got over 500 professional career home runs. He's got almost 1,700 career RBIs. He came to America, and he seamlessly fit right in. One day, and I'm very sure of this, Benny, Matsui will at least have a plaque at Yankee Stadium for his contributions, just not only to the Yankees but to international baseball, because Matsui, along with Ichiro, are the guys that reinforced that you can come over here and be big time. And Matsui was big time. He was a great Yankee every year of his career. Uh, I give him tons of credit because he came over here as Sadahara O with his Japanese career. He was basically their modern day Babe Ruth of
Right.
sorts. He was the man. They called him Godzilla for a reason over there. And when he came here, it wasn't necessarily about home runs. It was very interesting how Matsui handled the major league pitching. He somehow changed himself and became a 16 to 20 home run a year guy with 100 RBIs and a 285
Those
batting
100
average
ribbies, right.
year after
Solid,
year
consistent.
after year after year. I think Jeter might have said Matsui was his favorite teammate. I mean, the guy was great in the clubhouse. He was great on the field. He was a pro's pro. And if you're going to combine the numbers, then there's no doubt that Hideki Matsui's contributions to professional baseball are enormous. Enormous. 509 career home runs with almost 1,700 RBIs
Right.
and a World Series MVP. By the way, that World Series clinching game, what did he have? 2 home runs and 6 RBIs in that game?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Matsui was as cool as they come. I hated that Brian Cashman, coming right off the year that we won it all, got rid of Damon and Matsui. I
Right.
hated that. It's the old if it ain't broke, don't fix it thing to me. And I'm like, they just delivered a championship. What are you doing?
And I have to believe if he had played his whole career in the United States in Major League Baseball, his
Right?
stats would have been very close to what we just said.
Yeah, I could see him winding up with. You know what though? He did.
Maybe
He
not
did.
as many homers.
He did change, but yeah, I think that you know what? If he had come from the very, very beginning, he probably would have found a way to become a 3,000 hit guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Matsui was like that. He was a hitting machine. He readjusted when he got to face major league pitching, but he still was a 100 RBI a year hitting machine. So yeah, and he was able to stay pretty much healthy during his Yankee run. He did have the one time he broke his hand, right, sliding for the ball, but in general, the guy was always healthy.
One of
Great
my
player,
favorite Yankees.
great player.
And speaking of that, the next guy, Bernie Williams, 5-time All-Star, Silver Slugger, 4 World Series, 4 Gold Gloves, batting title. He's got 6 top 20 MVPs, 22 postseason homers, which is third all time behind Manny Ramirez and Altuve, and 80 ribbies, first all time,
Right.
and has an ALCS MVP.
unbelievably underappreciated and taken for granted. Bernie Williams is a fucking Hall of Famer. And yeah, I'm speaking with Yankee bias, but why wouldn't I have Yankee bias towards the guy who has the most
Well, you see the
postseason
guy every
RBIs?
day. Of course, you're going to appreciate him, right?
My God, I mean, year after year, and you're talking about a switch hitter who hit cleanup for a dynasty. Year after year after year after year, Bernie Williams, he had, how many times did he knock in 100 runs? That guy knocked in 100 runs a whole bunch of times. Bernie Williams with a 297 batting average, let's be honest, if he's 300 and above, he's probably in right away. It's like, how much more do
Right.
you're really going to take those 3%? But this is not Kenny Lofton. We're not talking about Kenny Lofton's 299. We're talking about Bernie fucking Williams patrolling center field, Death Valley at Yankee Stadium for what, 15 years or
Yeah,
whatever he
I mean,
did? You know,
you're
power,
talking about a
check.
guy who hit for average. He
Yeah,
hit for some power, not a lot of power, but
he
pretty
had power.
consistent power. Yeah, drove
Bernie
in the
had
runs.
power.
You know,
Yep,
fielded center field flawlessly,
flawlessly. Made it
and
look
and and
easy.
and was a clutch postseason player.
Oh my God, he was everything, and he was there for the bad days. I remember when he came up. Bernie was there for everything. He was there for everything. The perfect teammate, the
Great
perfect
teammate. I was going to
mindset,
say great teammate, right? They all everybody
great,
loves Bernie.
great teammate. And you know what? And as far as defensively goes, my father said it best. We used to watch Bernie, and my father wasn't the biggest Bernie fan though. It was weird. He used to pick on Bernie and Pettit. I told that story. I'm like, Dad, stop. But Bernie
Why do you pick on
Williams.
Bernie?
Maybe he just was looking for more spark in him. I don't know, like more emotional stuff. My father liked the guy who would wore everything on his sleeve. I kind of do too, but I
Right.
always saw Bernie for exactly what he was: grace. Bernie was graceful, and my father did give him this much: anytime that a ball was hit in Bernie's direction, or not in Bernie's direction, more importantly, like let's say there's a deep drive out to left center or right center, Bernie Williams was always there waiting for it.
Right.
I don't know how the hell that would happen, but he was so smooth in the outfield that nobody realized how easy he's making this look. And my father was like, "That reminds me of Joe DiMaggio."
I was going to say, when the minute you said that, when you said
Yeah,
effortless, and it was always there,
yeah,
positioned himself perfectly.
yeah.
Didn't appear to be hustling, but he was a smart, had a great baseball mind.
Bernie had long legs and ran like a gazelle.
Yeah.
He was very smooth ball player. I mean, they got it right. They retired his number. And I remember telling my dad when he used to get on Pettit and Williams, I'm like, these are all-time great Yankees. They're going to wind up with their numbers retired, Dad. You better.
I hope I live long enough to see Bernie get inducted. I really do.
Yeah, Bernie
That
should be
is like
inducted.
well deserved.
Yeah, a switch hitting power hitter with grace and great defense and speed and everything else and
And clutch.
postseason, 80 RBIs in the postseason.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Number
Bernie
one.
was great.
I
Bernie
don't
was
think anybody's going to
great.
break that. All right. So
And you could ask for a mature at bat from Bernie. Bernie wasn't looking to put it in the seats. Bernie was looking to get a hit.
right.
Great ball player.
Bernie did what was going to help the team.
Yep.
Well, as good of a teammate as Bernie was, next guy, maybe not so much, Albert Bell.
Wow.
5 times All-Star, 5 Silver Slugger, 381 homers, 1,239 ribbies. He drove in 100 runs plus his last 9 seasons.
Right.
And a career 295 batting average. But a total
how many seasons did Bell play?
Let's see.
Not many.
He used to be Joey, right? what was that all about? I never could.
I don't know.
Albert called me Joey. Albert, he played for a long time. He played till no, he did not.
He did not play for a long time. I don't believe he did.
Play for no, he did not. He played for 12 seasons.
12 seasons.
Yeah, 12 seasons.
Albert Bell is to the modern day thing what Dick Allen was. Put that motherfucker in the Hall of Fame. Put Albert Bell in the fucking Hall of Fame. I don't care if you don't like him. It's got nothing to do with nothing. Albert Bell in his prime was scary as shit. One of my favorite memories of Albert Bell was Albert Bell gets hit by the ball and won't take first base. He's arguing with the umpire to get another swing. He's staring at the pitcher that just hit him, and he's like, And it's like, Albert, you got to go take first base. You just got hit. He's like, He's like, come on, throw me another one. I'm like, oh, my God. Albert Bell was an absolute prick. and I don't care. It's got nothing to do with nothing here. You know, Dick Allen was supposedly a dick. I don't care. Albert Bell, for what he did in 12 seasons, if you do the math there, that's 3,100. 9 years in a row with 100 RBIs.
Well,
You don't get
I,
to
I gotta
ignore
I
that.
gotta read you his stats, Jimmy. This is
It's,
because
no, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Please, by all means, they are
yeah, I mean,
ridiculous.
and he really only played like his first season 62 games,
Right.
second season only 9 games. So he literally
You're talking
had
about 10 years.
10 full
Right.
seasons. Let me read these numbers.
Go ahead.
28, 95, 282.
Just getting started.
34, 112, 260. 38, 129, 290.
Yeah.
36, 101, 357.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
357. Next year, 50,
Right.
126, 317.
Right. Keep going.
Follows that with a 48, 148, 311.
148. 148 RBIs. Keep going.
It gets better.
Yeah,
30, 116, 274.
Okay.
And then 49, 152.
152.
328.
Ridiculous.
Comes in 8th in the MVP.
Oh, please. And nobody likes him.
Right.
They don't like him.
And then he winds down with a 37, 117, 297, and a 23, 103, 281.
Yeah,
Man,
stop.
So
stop.
All right, so I'm pretty quick with numbers. I'm going to do this in my head. So 8. So he averaged 37.3 homers in his full seasons and for a decade. And then 40, 11, 119.9 ribbies for 10 years.
Yeah. That's a Hall of Famer. I don't give a crap. I know what I saw. He passes the eye test. Forget all the numbers. Stop. You know?
Got, and then, you know, his 3 peak years, he's number 3, 2, and 3 in the MVP. You got to think that if he was a more popular guy, he would have grabbed at least 1 or 2 of those.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, do you remember that Cleveland Indians lineup? Holy crap.
Who there? Was that Tommy?
Tommy Ramirez Bell?
Oh,
yike.
And you had the human vacuum cleaner, and you have Omar Vizquel as the shortstop.
Right, yeah. Ooh. You know, I felt for that team. That team almost, they lost to the Braves, right, in 95?
I kind of feel sorry for Indian fans. That was, I mean, if you didn't get that one, man.
Yeah, it's kind of not fair, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Right, so we're both agreeing that Bell, I mean, you average 38 homers and 120 ribbies over 10 years consistent.
Albert Bell is a Hall of Famer. Stop. Oy. Some of the things that they keep you out for.
All right. How about Jim Edmonds? This is 4 All-Stars, Silver Slugger, 8 Gold Gloves, World Series, his 393, 1199, career 284 batting average, 13 postseason dingers.
I'm putting Jim Edmonds in.
A lot of people, you know, when you know, on Facebook, you know, when we have these discussions, who's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
a lot of people mention Edmonds' name.
I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think that he did everything great, and I still think he's the best damn center fielder I've seen. Did I miss something?
The only guy who's, I mean, his catch is pretty close to Willie Mays' catch. I mean, close.
Yep. Jim Edmonds was a great all-around everything. I think that he should be in the Hall of Fame. Is he even on the ballot anymore? Or, I mean, did they just cast him aside? Now we got to deal with
let's see. When did he finish up? He finished up. No, he's got to be. No, he finished up in 2010.
Okay. He's almost off the ballot, though. It's like 15 years, I think, you get before you get dropped.
I think eventually the Veterans Committee they'll vote him in.
Yeah, I hear a lot, and I guess we're going to get to him, but I hear a lot about how Andrew Jones should be in. I'd rather have Jim Edmonds any day.
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming here. All right, now next is Dale Murphy.
Ooh.
7 All-Star, 4 Slugger, 2 MVPs, 5 Gold Gloves, 398 homers, 1266 ribbies, and a career 265 batting average. I thought that was going to be a little bit higher, but you had the back-to-back MVPs.
I think Dale Murphy's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I have always thought. Now, there's a name that, when, you know, that's one of the first ones that comes to mind about, you know, when you talk about guys who should be in.
Right.
Is Murphy.
What he meant to his franchise and what he was during the time period that he was, you know, we can't have it both ways. I can't scream for Mattingly and Hernandez and not say that Murphy, I got to scream for Murphy. Murphy should be in the Hall of Fame. It's a huge oversight. I don't know what that is. And he's popular. As far as I know, he was popular
Yeah.
with the media. What are they like? Are they doing the old Nettles thing with the batting average? Oh, well, the batting average, blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up. In this
Yeah.
particular case, stop it. We all know what Dale Murphy was.
He didn't have the postseason body of work, but that wasn't his fault.
That wasn't his fault. He didn't get the chance. You know, I think he made one postseason, didn't he? In all of his
He
time
had
with
one,
them.
yeah, like one season, one
Right.
series. Actually,
Was that Joe Torre's Braves?
Um,
Because I think Torre was the guy who got them there in the early '80s. It might, maybe not. You know,
I think he got traded. Was the year before the year they actually won. Let's see, Murphy got traded to the Phillies in 1990.
right,
Yeah,
right. So he had to have it early on, unless he was he with the Phillies in '93 when they lost to the
his
Blue Jays?
was 82. 82. He was
Right. There you go.
yeah, just with the NLCS with the
Right. Early on.
Braves. Yeah, it was 3 for 11,
Right.
273, but that was it. I
Right.
thought he would have had a bigger body of postseason work, but he
Yeah,
didn't.
he didn't get the chance.
But again, not his fault. I mean, 5 Gold Gloves, 2 MVPs.
Yep. Yeah. Nah, that's a Hall of Famer, man. He did enough.
If somebody shoved me a ballot, I'd write his name in it.
I
Honestly.
agree. I agree.
Yeah,
And I know for a
without
fact,
question.
living where I live with all the Braves fans around here, they're disgusted by it. He should be in. He's everybody's hero here, you know? So he should definitely be in.
Another very unsung, underrated player, in my opinion, is Dwight Evans. 3 All-Stars, 2 Silver Slugger, 8 Gold Gloves, and he's got 385, 1384. And he's got a career 272 batting average, 300 World Series batting average. He's got 14 ribbies in 14 games. One of the greatest right fielders of all time, I think.
Being a Yankee fan, hopefully the Red Sox fans out there will now truly understand that we look at baseball for what it is. We don't just root with our Yankee minds. It's disgusting to me that Dwight Evans is not a Hall of Famer. What on earth do you want that guy to do? Okay. If Jim Edmonds is in, so's Dwight Evans. That's all there is to it. Dwight Evans, 3 Gold Gloves with that arm, probably should have had one every year of his career. Maybe there was somebody more sexy to give the Gold Glove to. Do not run on Dwight Evans. You're out. Okay.
Right.
You want power? Oh yeah. Oh, he had that. You want run production? Oh yeah. Oh, he had that. You know, you want a great veteran? Oh, yeah, that's what he became. An all-time great Boston Red Sox. It is disgusting that Evans has been overlooked over all these years. It's probably the batting average. Here we go again. Ow, 270. You know, stop. Do the eye test.
But he's
For
got
15
us,
for
and I know
15
we're not
years,
big
Dwight
fans of
Evans.
this number, Jimmy. We're not big fans of wins against replacement, but at
Right.
67.2, I
Yeah.
think he might, if he's not the highest WAR to not be in the Hall of Fame, he's like right up there.
Well, I remember Nettles had a really high one too.
Yeah.
It's just it's absurd. Dwight Evans is one of the all-time greats, and he was part of Rice, Yastrzemski, Fisk, Dwight Evans.
Yeah.
You know, he was a big-time bopper on a big-time team for well over a decade. He should be in.
And
Dwight
he's
Evans
got,
should be in.
let me see, third place MVP, 7, 11, 4, and 9. So I mean, the writers recognized him. He didn't get that many. Let me see. He's only a 3-time All-Star, which I think is criminal.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a guy patrolling the outfield for 15 years or so named Roy White, who was a wonderful ball player. Evans was Roy White.
I love Roy White.
Evans was Roy White times 2. You know what I mean? So, like, and as much as I loved Roy White, that's it. Dwight Evans was Roy White times 2. I mean, he was twice the power, twice the run production. Great arm. I mean, geez, I could.
Yeah, Roy did not have a throwing arm. I remember that.
No, he had no arm. He had a very weak arm. He was great with the glove. That was what kept him out there all those years. The guy caught everything.
Ball player. I mean, solid.
By the way, nobody could climb the left field fence at Yankee Stadium like Roy White.
Yeah.
My God. I mean, how many balls did he pull in that were home runs? I saw him do it all the time. But no. Dwight Evans,
Roy White is a whole very good.
Yep, absolutely. Dwight Evans should be in the Hall of Fame, period.
Jimmy, I honestly did not think. I mean, every time we do this, we just keep adding names, and like it's hard. I mean, it, there's that many great ball players out there that are not in. The next one, Dave Parker, 7 All-Star, 3 Silver Slugger, MVP, 3 Gold Gloves, 2 World Series, 2 batting titles, 339 homers, 1,493 ribbies, career 290 batting average, 2,712 hits, and in the World Series, 15 hits in 14 games.
I've always felt that Dave Parker is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, the Cobra.
Always.
Very, very.
Always felt that. Lethal at the plate. Another guy, don't you dare run on him.
No.
He probably has the most impressive throw in the history of baseball. I think you know which one I'm talking about. Where he's basically on the warning track and throws it on a fly to home plate. Well,
yeah.
What? You know what I mean? I love that 79 team. I remember We Are Family, that team very well. I don't think Dave Parker failed in any way whatsoever. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I think it's a joke that he's not. What does he not have enough of? I don't know what they're looking for.
I mean, you got power. You got batting titles. You got the Gold Gloves. I mean, you got the hits. I mean, contact hitter. Yep. 290 batting average.
He just like Evans. I'm thinking to myself, how did this guy get only 3 Gold Gloves? I mean, who were they giving it to every year?
Right.
I mean, I don't fully understand that. Dave Parker and Evans are the first 2 names I'll think of. If you're going to try to take a base, you better not take it on them.
Yeah.
You're done. You're absolutely done. So yeah, I don't get that one. Yeah. He's a Hall of Famer.
I'm writing his name in. All right, next guy. This one I kind of really thought about a lot. Andrew Jones. See, and you mentioned him earlier. 5-time All-Star, Silver Slugger, 10 Gold Gloves, 434 homers, 1,289 ribbies, career 254 batting average, has 10 postseason homers. Actually had a better average, 273 in the postseason.
Very interesting stuff. You see, I cannot have it both ways. I can't make that passionate cry for Nettles with the low batting average and not say that Andrew Jones didn't do enough. Andrew Jones did enough. I'm not the biggest fan of Andrew Jones, but you can't really look past the over 400 career home runs and the 10 Gold Gloves. I mean, and the kid came up at 19. He was thrown right into the spotlight, as you remember.
Right.
As a 19-year-old, patrolling the hardest position to play, basically, in the outfield. I'm going to go with yeah. I can't have it both ways, I've learned to soften how I look at career batting averages, especially when I see nowadays a guy can hit 260-something and be third on his team in average. It's just I've reevaluated how I look at batting averages, due to the fact of today's hitter that just wants to hit a home run. Or be impressed with their own launch angle.
I really think we need to change, the metric has always been 3,000 hits, 300 average, 500 homers. Those are automatics. But maybe, if you have 10 Gold Gloves and over 400 home runs,
right?
How do you keep a guy like that out?
I don't think you should. So are you saying yes? Because I'm saying yes.
I'm saying yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We talked about Jambi. How about Manny Ramirez? 12 All-Star, 9 Silver Sluggers, 2 World Series, batting title, 555 homers, 1,831 ribbies, career 312 batting average, 29 postseason homers, which is first all-time, 78 ribbies, which is next to Bernie. Yeah, I mean, Jesus, God.
Listen,
what a masher.
Manny is the guy I feared the most of anybody. Manny, I feared more than everybody outside of probably Barry. I mean, Manny drives me the craziest because you may not realize this, but maybe you do. Across from Yankee Stadium, there's always been a little baseball field. Even now, after they made the new park, they just moved the field possibly, but there's still a little baseball field where kids in the neighborhood and leagues play and everything. Well, that's where Manny grew up. And I remember going through the parking lot and stuff. When you went to the parking lot and stuff and went in through the gates, you could see that ball field, right? I used to see this kid just destroying balls. And I'd be like, wow, I wonder who that kid is. My God, I mean, he's just a baby then. He's just a teenager. But I was like appalled when years later it came out that that was the kid that used to play across the street from the Yankee Stadium in the baseball field right across the street. How the hell did he not wind up with the New York Yankees?
Right.
He's playing right there. He's literally hitting balls into your entrance gates, practically the way the kid had power.
Yeah, how did he
And
fly under the radar?
he winds up with the Indians and then the Red Sox and ruins us. It's just like
Right.
what happened there, Brian? You know, were you busy looking at your analytics? You could have looked out the window. That's all you had to do in that case. The kid, he's right there.
Yeah, we missed the boat on that one for sure.
Oh my God, Manny Ramirez should be in the Hall of Fame. What is this? Steroids again? Is that what we're going to say here?
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
I mean, it's steroids again. I can tell you right now, just from seeing the kid as a teenager launching balls, he didn't need steroids. He was going to hit a kabillion home runs one way or the other.
Yeah.
You know, Manny Ramirez was great. Was he aloof? Yeah. Sport of Manny. Manny's world, right?
Best pure hitters ever, I think.
Oh my God. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. What a joke. I love the hypocrisy. It kills me. It's a joke.
You just mentioned steroids. Perfect segue. Next guy, Sammy Sosa.
Right.
7 All-Stars, 6 Silver Slugger, 609 homers, 1667, 273.
Same deal. It's the same deal. I hate the hypocrisy of it all. Sammy Sosa was obviously with Mark McGwire. 1998, basically, you know, they say it saved baseball. I disagree with that. I think that it helped get baseball.
They gave it a boost.
Yeah, I think that it helped baseball be more popular than ever, but I don't think it saved baseball. We were 5, 6, or 7. We were 4 seasons after the strike. People had been packing out stadiums for several years after it. You know, everybody screamed, "I'm never coming back," but we all came back.
I'm going to borrow a Bob Backlund word. He booned baseball.
Right.
You know, Bob Backlund booned our lives, but this guy booned baseball.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, and he was from what I remember, he was a good fella. He was a gracious fella. His relationship with McGwire during the whole thing was wonderful to watch. They were rooting for each other. You know, I mean, it's kind of funny how sportsmanship was being shown on such a nice level between the relationship, but meanwhile they're all juicing. It's just kind of funny. I find that kind of funny. But Sosa did enough. What are you kidding me? You're going to keep him out? Just stop it. We really got to stop that. I mean, it's enough already.
You made a really good point a couple of episodes ago, Jimmy, and I want to bring this back up again.
Yeah.
You know, the controversy is around all these guys like a Clemens, a Bonds, a Sosa, McGwire, etc., Palmeiro. How many guys juiced that like we're not talking about?
Tons.
Right?
Tons, because the list that came out, most of them were terrible ball players. So I really don't, you know, it doesn't improve your hand-eye coordination to the point where you can recognize a curveball or a fastball. You got to have those kind of instincts one way or the other, you know. I pointed out in the past weeks, Michael Jordan, one of the greatest athletes that ever lived, could not handle a breaking ball, a curveball. He just couldn't do it. And trust me, if you gave him roids, he's still not recognizing those pitches. You know what I'm saying? That's not what's going to happen there. Does it make you stronger? Yeah. Does it make you better? Well, judging by the steroid list in 2003 or whatever year that list was, you know, supposedly from, it doesn't make you better. It doesn't. I mean, 80% to 90% of that list were guys who took roids and sucked. So either you're a great ball player or you're not. You know, and again, the whole field is negated when everyone's taking it, and you've got a grown man on roids throwing the ball to a grown man on roids. It's negated. I don't give a crap.
You got the pitcher gassed up too. So
right. I mean, and it bothers me so much because the one controlling the narrative during the steroid days was Bud Selig. The biggest crook that ever lived when it comes to baseball, okay? I can't stand Bud Selig. Bud Selig was very aware that roids were going around. It happened on his watch. Why do you think that all these guys were banned to make Bud Selig look good for something he allowed to come in and happen anyway? What a bullshit artist. He made the money when the money was there to be made, and when the heat got real, the man most responsible, himself, threw everyone else under the bus while he pretended to not know anything about anything. What an absolute bullshit artist.
And he was the guy driving the bus. So then he
Yeah.
pulled the bus over, says, "Get out. I'm going to run you over."
Right. What an absolute bullshit artist. And this crook got to Judge Pete Rose and keep him out all these years. Give me a break.
Right.
I'll tell you who's way more offensive to me in the history of this game when it comes to Pete Rose or Bud Selig, and the name is Bud Selig, is a disgusting commissioner.
Yeah.
Made me sick. The whole thing's hypocritical. Put them all in. They were the best ball players of their generation.
They were, absolutely.
Tell me Clemens isn't a Hall of Famer. Don't tell me that. I'm not listening to that garbage. I'm not listening to Bonds not being one, of McGuire or Sosa or Palmeiro or any of them. The playing field was leveled. Everybody knew, and it's just bullshit to play this holier-than-thou crap at this point.
We got a couple more, Jimmy.
Sure.
As far as that goes. The next guy is Canseco, Jose. 6 All-Stars, 4 Sluggers, MVP, Rookie of the Year, 462, 1407.
Right.
At 266 batting average.
All right, here's where I probably don't make any friends. And I'll tell you why I believe he deserves to be in. Because he wasn't popular and because he was hated so much, just like Albert Bell. Didn't you wonder how Albert Bell just fell off the rails? He's still, Canseco was not allowed to play out his career fully. He was blacklisted, in my mind, okay? Canseco would have cleared 500 home runs under normal circumstances. For some reason, he became one of the guys that they wanted to really make an example of, all right? Jose Canseco, in his prime, was everything, right, Benny? Talk about speed. I mean, what are we talking here? Does it get forgotten about what kind of ball player Jose Canseco was?
I'm looking at some of these seasons, like 1988. That was his MVP. 42, 124, 307, 40 stolen bases, on base 391.
40 stolen bases.
Yeah, you got 44, 122, 26 stolen bases, 266. But he's got 46, 107.
Right.
With the Blue Jays in 1998.
Right.
That's ridiculous. Right. 46, 107.
Right. And watch how quickly his numbers drop off, and that's because the heat was starting.
Yeah. So in 99, he played for the Rays. 34, 95.
Right.
279. Good season. And 2000, he was a part-time player. He was gone at 35.
Don't you see what I just said? He's coming off a season in 99 with 95 RBIs and 34 dingers, and he's a part-time player instantly?
Right.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is that? Just like Albert Bell. Didn't you say at the end Albert Bell was still knocking in 100 runs, and then all of a sudden he's gone?
9 seasons in a row.
Yeah, it's like certain ball players, for some reason, were pointed out, probably because of their personalities. Canseco was a dick. Everybody knows Canseco was a jerk, But Canseco was one of the greats of his time. That's all there is to it. It didn't happen for 5 years. It happened for over a decade. Canseco got kicked out of the game because they needed to start finding scapegoats. And Canseco and Bell was also suspected of it. You know what I mean? So these guys were kind of cock-blocked, for lack of a better term.
No, it's a perfect term. And,
Jose Canseco is one of the all-time greats, and instead of acknowledging him for being a 40-40 guy, how many people have done that, by the way, in the history of this game?
Very few.
Chucking aside his 462 home runs and his very considerable amount of RBIs and everything, and his speed and everything, and his championship with the A's and everything else he did with the Bash Brothers. The Bash Brothers? What, that's not legendary? Yeah, it is. It is legendary, the Bash Brothers, McGuire and Canseco, that Oakland A's team that got the 3 straight World Series, And I remember Canseco being a Yankee, and they brought him in the postseason. They were afraid to pitch to him. They were afraid to pitch to him. I'm like, the guy's barely playing. He went from a full-timer to now he's a bench player. Cashman picked him up.
35. I mean, you're not talking about a broken-down 35-year-old guy.
Cashman picked up Canseco so the Red Sox couldn't. And this is supposedly when he's been relegated to the bench. Get out of here. Talk about a guy who got completely railroaded and became a
Yeah,
scapegoat for
he had
something.
2 or 3 good seasons left,
Yeah, absolutely.
and he could have been, a
Absolutely.
500 plus, 1500 plus. I
Yep.
mean, then you're automatically in.
I think that they were doing anything they could to stop him from getting to certain numbers. I really do.
Yeah,
I believe that. Bud Selig had his guys that he singled out. This is who we're going to target, and this is who we're going to target. And I'm the guy that let it all happen, but no, we're not going to talk about that. And I want to target this one and this one. You know what I mean? Like, look at David Ortiz. Everybody knows David Ortiz took fucking roids, and I don't care that he did, but everybody knows it. He took roids. Who gets all the heat? A-Rod. Who gets all the love? Ortiz. Why? Ortiz is beloved. I'm not sure to this day why David Ortiz is so beloved, but he's beloved.
yeah.
A-Rod's a dick. Okay, we got our scapegoats. It's usually the dick is the easy target. Wow, wait a minute. That sounded weird. The guy he's an easy target, and that's that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I mean, Canseco, Albert Bell, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, they're all considered assholes. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, look, this is not a popularity contest. This is about whether or not you did enough in the game to get in, which gets back to Dick Allen, which gets back to
Wasn't Ty
Albert
Cobb a
Bell.
bit of an asshole? I mean, he seemed to get in.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I think Canseco's a Hall of Famer. What do you say?
Jose, yeah, I mean, because he, at 35, and with the, he was jacked. I mean, he was like, he had the physique of a Greek god, and he could have easily went into his early 40s. I think they forced him out of the game.
I think even now, if you look at his stats, I think he did enough. 462 career home runs, 40-40, ring.
MVP, Rookie of the Year, 2 World Series. Yeah.
Yeah, he did everything, And instead, what do we get? We get the memory of him, the ball bouncing off his head and going into the stands.
Right.
That's what we get with Jose Canseco. One fucking play. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Jose Canseco was one of the greats of his generation, whether you love him or hate him. I personally have no use for him, but I'm not going to ignore what he did.
I'm not a big fan. I mean, from a personality perspective, but man, what a ball player.
Right. I liked him on the Yankees. I thought that was awesome when we grabbed him. I felt like the fat got fatter, and I was all good with it.
All right, heading home here. Next, Gary Sheffield, 9 All-Star, 5 Silver Slugger, World Series, batting title, 509 homers, 1,676 ribbies, 292 batting average.
Here we go again.
Right?
In. Why is he waiting? Why is another guy who's a dick, right? Oh, my God, one of the biggest dicks that ever lived, right? Gary Sheffield, what a douche. Man, I loved when he was on our team, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, lethal. Boy, no one hit the ball harder, by the way, than Gary Sheffield. I'm talking about really hitting a damn baseball. Remember, even his line drive doubles and stuff. My God, did that guy hit with intent to injure?
Yep.
What are we talking here? He's another guy. Oh, flaxseed oil. Oh, here we go. No way. Gary Sheffield's a Hall of Famer. That's a joke to me. An absolute joke.
Yeah.
Every number is there, Benny. Everything is there. High batting average, high home run total, high RBI total. Damn great hitter.
If you're mashing it at a 500 plus and a 1676, and you have a batting title, I mean, geez, come on.
I loved his batting stance too. He would whip, and you know what I mean. The bat would whip across the strike zone. I was just like, wow, what a great player. I'm a little disappointed. Didn't his son come up as a pitcher? I guess it hasn't really translated, huh?
Has he?
Justice Sheffield, I believe, is the kid's name.
Is he pitching? Is he in the major leagues now?
I don't know if it's really, going to work out at the end of the day. It's really too bad. But Sheffield's related to Gooden, correct? Do we have that one right?
Yes.
Right.
That's his cousin.
Right. Very talented family you got going on over there.
Oh, yeah.
Sheffield, it should have been in the Hall of Fame already. That's a joke to me. That's a joke.
All right, and this last guy is from long time ago. Okay. Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Oh, my God. You're going there. Okay.
356 career batting average.
Mm-hmm.
What is he, like third all-time, fourth all-time?
Yeah, he's in the top 5.
Behind Cobb and Hornsby, right?
Yeah. Should have been put in a long time ago. Everybody who's not familiar with the 1919 Black Sox, I think he hit 357 that World Series.
375, I think. Well, let's look that one up.
Well, you know what? All it means is that my dyslexia is kicking in because
Well, you might be
5775.
right. Hang on, Joe Jackson.
No, you're probably right, Benny. But either way, that's a ridiculous batting average for a guy who's trying to lose, if you know what I mean.
And again, a guy that was his last season, he was 32. He had good seasons ahead of him.
Yeah, he did. And every ball that was hit to him, he made a put out. Right? He didn't make any errors.
Yeah.
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 I don't know why it's never been forgiven or looked. I don't feel that on the field Joe did anything to compromise that World Series whatsoever. I even have heard stories. Look, it's over 100 years ago, so God only knows. But I've even heard stories that Joe wasn't really truly privy to any of this shit and was against it. You know what I mean? For whatever he was aware of, he was not for it. He certainly didn't play in that World Series like he was trying to do anything but win it. It's a joke. Enough. Hey, you know what? Not to be political, but maybe the next president can pardon him. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, my understanding is the guy was a simple-minded guy, kind of not a leader, definitely a follower.
Right.
And kind of just went along with the crowd. I mean, which doesn't excuse it, but I mean, the guy, if you're hitting 375, right, and you're playing errorless baseball, what have you done? Have you done nothing but try to help the team win?
It's funny though, Benny. You said he goes along with the crowd. Let's not forget that if he didn't go along with the crowd, I think we're talking mafia here. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
There was some big time gamblers behind all of this, wasn't there?
Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure that going along with the crowd was necessarily an option.
You're talking about like maybe the offer they can't refuse kind of thing?
It kind of feels that way. If Joe became aware of it, they were probably look, don't do anything to make it worse for us to do what we got to do here. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, what do you think? He could have hit 500, but he only hit 375. I don't think so. You know what I mean? It feels to me like he did everything he could to try to win, and he was just in a bad spot. And like you said, he's not a leader in that situation. He was a follower, and he probably had to be. It sounds like there was other forces involved with the gambling and the throwing of the World Series that if he didn't go along with it, Joe Jackson's history as a person might have ended up differently. Forget the ball player.
Yeah. He was
you know what I mean?
12 for 32.
Right.
With 3 doubles, a homer, 6 ribbies. Yeah, 375.
Very nice.
No errors.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't sound like somebody's trying to throw anything.
No,
he didn't do the involuntary or the voluntary Buckner and let one go between his legs or anything like that.
Right. Well, the sad part is that if he'd been allowed to finish out his career, we talk about him all the time the way we talk about Cobb and Ruth and Ted Williams. He's one of the greatest players that ever lived. Was Joe Jackson. Obviously, he is. He's one of the 5 greatest hitters ever, probably. And unfortunately, history happened the way it did.
Hit, let's see, 408 in 1911. Followed that with a 395, and he slacked up to 373. I mean,
Jesus God.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Mind-boggling. Just got
it is.
Put a bat in his hand, he just could hit. I mean.
Yep. Yes, he could.
And played very well by
I recently saw a video. They were showing Babe Ruth in the batting cage, and a lot of people are writing underneath, oh, he never would have hit today's pitching. I'm like, do you see this guy's hand coordination? By the way, his batting stance would have worked today, especially at Yankee Stadium anyway. He was close stance, and he would open up on the ball like a cobra. Basically, the guy would have hit 50 home runs now in today's day. Get out of here.
He turned his wrist, and then he had that barrel chest.
Right.
And I mean, the ball just exploded.
Yep. I saw a picture recently of Babe Ruth diving off a diving board. Okay, and we're talking about Babe in his prime with the Yankees, where he's heavy set. He's a big guy, and he's coming off this diving board, and his form. They have a picture of him in midair on the dive, and it's perfect. He has perfect form. I'm like, look, some guys may not look like they're an athlete, but are incredibly athletic. All right. I'll use a wrestling analogy. Wahoo McDaniel, of course, obviously strikes very close to home here. You realize what kind of football player this guy was? You know how fast this guy
Oh
was?
yeah,
This guy in his prime was fast. And if you look at him on the surface, you just see this big, stocky dude. You don't think of speed. Well, he had it. He had it back in his college playing days. He had it in the pros in the NFL. You know? It's just sometimes you can't tell these things.
right.
Babe Ruth was an athlete. My God, he was a fantastic athlete. His
And
pitching form.
you're probably looking at the 38-year-old version of Ruthie. The
Right,
younger version who pitched for the Red Sox,
right.
pretty trim guy. I mean, he
He
kind of
was.
just gained weight as he got along and went
He
along.
was when he first came up as a kid. He was a big kid, but he wasn't barreled or anything like that. And again, it never hurt Babe Ruth. His job was to hit a baseball. And if it's going over the fence half the time, it's not like he has to fly around the bag either. But he had a high average, so the guy was not just hitting home runs. Babe
Right,
Ruth was a hitter.
342, I think.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's a ridiculous lifetime batting average. For a power hitter, that's
right.
just absurd. It's absurd.
Yeah,
Garrick had 340. Garrick was right behind him.
yeah.
You know,
And Garrett
what was
probably
what was
I would think
Williams? What was Ted Williams' lifetime average?
Williams, I
344.
think, was 342. I think. Let me.
Was it?
What?
Wow. I
He's
thought it was
right
like
up there. I mean, he's
yeah. It's another guy.
yeah. And I mean,
Ridiculous.
you talk about Williams giving up 5 years of his career to
Right.
this military service.
Right. Right. And real military service. He had
Williams
like
was
25 different
344.
344. There you go. Got that one.
Career on base percentage 482.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
That is insane. He's basically on half the time. That's crazy. Yeah. That is crazy.
I mean, there were years. Yeah.
He might be the greatest. He might be the greatest all around. He might be the greatest all around if you want power and average and everything. He might be the greatest all around. I mean, outside of Ruth, and I can't think of anybody in the conversation.
As far as like the greatest hitter of all time,
right,
taking everything into account, I would probably vote for Williams.
I would,
because he had that eye.
Yeah. My father used to tell me stories. I'm sure you've heard them. That if Ted Williams didn't swing at a pitch, the umpire would call it a ball.
Right.
Because Ted's eye was better than the umpire's. You know how true that is? It's probably true.
And one of the few, even though he didn't sustain it, one of the few really great ball players that was a pretty decent manager.
Yeah. Yep.
I think he won a Manager of the Year.
Did he really? Okay.
I mean, like I said, he didn't sustain it, but
no. Well, wasn't he with Washington? How could he sustain it?
Right.
I mean, my God, outside of 1924, those poor Senator fans, they never saw anything.
No.
You know? Which really, really hammers home what a miracle 1924 must have been and how great Walter Johnson must have been. Because you're talking about the Yankees have finally gotten over the New York Giant problem. 1923, they beat the great New York Giants.
Right.
And in 1924, somehow, Walter Johnson leads the Senators to a championship. Don't forget what happened after. Murderers Row is right around the corner.
27,
you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's amazing to me that the Senators did what they did that year. It really is. It goes to show just how great Walter Johnson was.
I think they won another. Didn't they win it the next year? They didn't win the series, but I think they won a pennant.
They might have. I'm not sure of. But I think the 24 was the only time they got the prize.
Right. Yeah, that's the only time they won the World Series.
Right.
Wow. Man, what a show.
Good stuff, dude.
I think we covered a lot of ground tonight, just like a Jim Edmonds or an Andrew Jones. What do you say?
Jim Edmonds and Andrew Jones, I say yes. That was a great show. Definitely great show. We covered a lot of guys, a lot of history there. We even talked about Dave Kingman.
Yeah. Yeah, a very nice comment from our friend Jason Moaning. Thanks, Pharaoh and Benny. You guys are giving me one hell of a baseball history lesson 1 week at a time.
Thank you.
That's a
Thanks,
nice,
Jay.
very nice
welcome.
compliment. Yeah, I'll get you that check. I just need your forwarding address.
Look at this. He's paying them off for good compliments. Jeez.
Actually, that's a comment from 20 years ago. Now it's like, give me your Venmo, right? Or your PayPal.
Right.
All right. Well, guys and gals, we cannot thank you enough. And we had a lot of good chat in there, too, for being with us tonight. I think Jimmy and I really think we're on good thing with the show. So I'm asking that you please spread the word to your friends. I think anybody who's a true baseball fan would really enjoy listening to us and just chatting. It's what they called a hot stove league back in the day.
There you go.
Just talking about baseball.
There you go. I feel like Mel Allen and John Sterling here. Isn't it amazing?
Right.
Isn't it amazing, Benny?
Never a bad thing talking about baseball. And we got a very busy week on the Monty and the Pharaoh channel this week. We got a Monday night is 7:00. I'm very excited about this. The world premiere of WrestleTest. Yeah, wrestling-based version of Jeopardy. And I really think all of you people are really going to enjoy it. I love being on it. I look forward to being on it some more. And then immediately following at 8:05 is the next episode of True Crime. We're going to cover the short but very sensational Alec Baldwin manslaughter trial. And we got some really good stuff coming down the pike on True Crime. And then Tuesday night at 7, as always, is Dan and Benny in the Ring. And, of course, Thursday night, you're entertained by the epic duo of Monty and the Pharaoh. It doesn't get any better than that. So for the great Pharaoh, this is the Playa telling you that if your girlfriend is stuck in a tree, do yourself a favor, get up there and kiss her between the limbs. And we're out.
Later.
I think we got to shut ourselves off, Jimmy. Yeah.
All right, brother.
Have a good night. It was fun.
Later.
Bye-bye.